You're cleared for takeoff. Power up. Here we go, but something's not right. Is your parking brake still set? Let's take a closer look at this important part of our airplanes.
396 Delta Mike, Hutchinson Tower. Winds are calm, runway 17 cleared for takeoff.
Cleared for takeoff 17, 396 Delta Mike. Okay, max takeoff weight today. We've got a full load in the bag. And here we go. Power set. And we're going slowly accelerating. We're heavy. Come on, airplane. Come on, airplane. And airspeed's alive. Come on, airplane. Come on, we're not accelerating. Let's go. Let's go. Tower 6 Delta Mike, we're boarding on the runway. Wow.
Roger 6 Delta Mike, can we be of any assistance?
Stand by. Let's keep this thing from going off the end. Wow. 6 Delta Mike, we have a brake, looks like some kind of brake problem. We need assistance.
Roger 6 Delta Mike, hold position.
Oh, parking brake. Idiot. 6 Delta Mike, we're gonna have to be towed back.
Roger 6 Delta Mike, equipment on the way.
Here we are at Flight Safety in San Antonio in a Citation 2 simulator about 100 feet from the end of a 4,000-foot runway because I tried to take off with the parking brake engaged. And you may think that'll never happen to you, but indeed it has happened to a number of Citation pilots. So it's not that uncommon. And here today to talk to us about parking brake issues is CJP Safety Committee member and welcome, Mr. Indra Holan. Welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
So you had a slightly different situation in your Citation 5, but dealing with the parking brake. You want to talk about it?
I did, and it could have turned into one of the situations you were talking about, but it didn't. So I was needing my night currency, 3 takeoffs and landings. Just gotten back from a trip, dropped off a passenger, and started right back up. And of course, I rushed it a little bit. Probably didn't follow the checklist fully, or wasn't quite in the right go slow mindset.
Yeah.
So start up the engine, push the parking brake in, and taxi out to the runway and get my clearance. I get on the runway, I hold the brakes and push up to 60, get the engine stabilized, let go of the brakes, and the airplane just turns right. I of course abort immediately, and I think I have a blown tire.
Okay.
And call tower and say, listen, I need assistance. We got the tow truck out, all that kind of stuff. They close the runway. Everybody else, comes out. We're scratching our heads. What's going on? And I climb back into the cockpit and I look around carefully, and I noticed that my parking brake is about 1 inch out.
Okay.
I hadn't pushed it all the way to the stops, and that was enough that when I applied pressure, that one of the brakes locked up a little bit and made me go sideways.
Well, and interestingly enough, our airplane, our Citations especially, some have warning systems for no takeoff or parking brakes,
Correct.
some don't.
Correct.
So sometimes if you're transitioning into a new airplane, you may be accustomed to getting a no takeoff warning where, for instance, in the Mustang that I fly a lot, there's nothing at all.
Right.
So how do you make sure that parking brake is...
It's a good point, and none of the legacy planes that I've flown, and I think most of the fleet, do not have any warning on takeoff configuration, whether that's flaps or parking brake or issues like that. So my new procedure now is to, whenever I engage the parking brake, I set it fully so that it's very noticeable that it's on if you try to roll forward. But also when I push it in, I make sure it pushes all the way to the wall, and I make sure it stops. And right before I go onto the runway, I do what I call, I count to 4. Basically, I start over here and I go make sure the flaps are in the right place, trim, and then I come over and I go 1 landing gear, 2 ignition, 3 pitot heat, and then 4 parking brake in, and then double check.
Yeah.
Because if you start rolling down the runway with the parking brake on, you know what can happen, right?
Yeah, and there have been some serious accidents
Right.
involving that, and some airframes that have been totally destroyed.
Exactly.
I know something I do is when I engage the parking brake, I verbalize it. Even if I'm
Yeah,
single pilot by
exactly.
myself, parking brake
Exactly.
engaged, and then parking brake released.
Yeah.
So just it gets my mind more in tune to pushing it all the way in.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's great advice, and we hope our members will take it, and we really appreciate your being kind enough to tell us your story and educating it.
Absolutely, it's a little embarrassing, but I feel like we got to share stories like this to make everybody safer.
Well, you're just one of a number of CJP members that have come forward and want to tell the story so that others won't have that situation happen.
Yeah,
Thanks very much.
of course.
Great, thanks.
Thanks, guys. Our legacy members are a valued part of our association, and this is fantastic safety information. Be sure to go to the safety tab on citationjetpilots.com. Until next time, fly safely.